Day episode, um, educational episode. Today we're going to actually dive into a pretty interesting topic on an article I found on CNBC, all about transistors and vehicles and what the supply chain issues are and how they're actually going to get worse.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
There's always that kind of, where you pause just before that video comes in, and it's like, is it coming? Is it going to happen today, or what? Is it not going to happen? So, I want to dive right in because this article actually changed my entire perspective on the whole vehicles, combustion engine, electric cars, and everything. And what I mean by that is I'm sure you can agree that when Elon Musk came out, Tesla was obviously the front runner of bringing mass electric vehicles to the market. As one that's been in the market for a new vehicle, for probably close to a year now, where it's just like I've ordered actually. So I think I'm on my third or fourth vehicle that I've ordered, and they just can't deliver. So I reorder another one. They can't deliver. Reorder another. And it's funny because I've read so many articles saying, okay, well, because resistors and chips and all these things are in such short supply, the companies are focusing on electric vehicles, right? Because my understanding, and maybe I've read things completely wrong, which could very well be the case, was they don't have as many of those moving parts, right? Like it's a combustion engine. You need a chip to do the timing. You need a chip for this. You need a chip for that, right? Now, reading this article, and what I'll do is I will put the article in the chat for everybody, because I think it's I think it's absolutely crazy. Let me do that, and then I'll do it to YouTube as well, and then I'll have to go on to actual LinkedIn and do it. And I don't see Twitter here as well because we're now broadcasting to Twitter. But so, anyways, the fact is that these resistors, these transistor chips, these microchips that we're waiting on, obviously in Malaysia, huge issues with COVID, so factories are shutting down. But what the big piece of that article that we just sent to y'all is, where one combustion vehicle might need, 300, the electric vehicle actually needs 3,000 of these chips. And to me, DJ, I was like, hold on, whoa, time out. That means so, and I'm coming this from a purchaser's perspective, right?
Yeah.
If you're telling me that I can't even get I can only speak to Ford because that's the vehicle line that I particularly go with. Don't everybody bash me who's not Ford guy. I don't care. So here's the thing: is I ordered the Mach E, and then there was issues getting that delivered. So I said, okay, my whole, and I'll kind of lay out my entire map, and then maybe it'll add some clarity. So my end goal is an electric truck, like an electric F-150, the Lightning. So in between that gap, I wanted to lease another electric vehicle because I'm totally not about combustion engines anymore. I just yes, do I care about the environment? For sure, but I'm more of like the ride of electric is just a million times. If you've never ridden electric, then you got to, because it's a million times better than combustion engine, in my opinion. So here's the thing, DJ.
I have not. I always wanted to do that.
Okay, you know what? You have to. If you just go to a Tesla dealer and pretend you want to buy one and go take a test drive, like it's incredible.
They don't want it. I already wanted one before this. They don't for sure want it. I can't do that yet. I'm not in a position.
You can. If you want it, you'll do it. So I order one. It's okay, it's delayed here. I said, okay, well, I my lease is up. I don't particularly want to release. If I have to, I will. So I said I'm gonna deal with it. I ordered an F-150, the V8. And then I get, 6 months later, they say, okay, well, that's not coming. And we just got notified now that anyone that's ordered a 2021 is actually going to get a 2022 for the same price because they had 22. And now a couple of things with Ford that happened is they had a bunch of containers of chips coming in from Japan, it was, and that ship actually hit a chemical tanker and they sank, so they lost all the chips. Then Ford got more chips, produced, I think it was 3,400, or my number might be off, 34 or 3,900 F-150s. They put them on rail, and that rail car derailed. So they lost all those, right? So it's not just supply chain, it's like this continuous, like, for
It's
lack of a better word, clusterfuck that's been going on. And so
it's like quicksand.
it is, and it just seems like it's not just the supply chain; it's coming from multiple angles, right? And
Mhm.
so I said, okay, I got my F-150 Lightning on order. You can go to Cars and Gadgets or Gears and Gadgets, like so many YouTube channels that people are talking about it everywhere about, they're just not being delivered. And then reading this article, it immediately, and this is where I love the fact that articles become a really cool tool for us to sell with, right? And
Yep.
that's what really today we're talking
That's
about is what new
exactly.
opportunities can we create in the supply chain through articles, and new opportunities meaning, how do you stand out from the crowd, right? And so hearing that a regular car has 300 resistors in it and now we need 3,000 for an electric vehicle tells me, I could be wrong, tells me on the horizon we've got a massive shortage of vehicles being delivered if most companies are now gearing towards electric. And then all these resistors, like, we just, you
Uh,
think of that.
it's getting worse, and so and with the article that we shared, that Dan just shared to everybody, I'll share one. It kind of sparked me to, like, okay, I mean, I don't deal with customers that are or have any clients that are dealing with this shortage, but guys, if there's anybody watching now that is, and you're not doing this research, I mean, these are the things that we're talking about. Just sharing these little bugs to your customer, these little insights, these little things can be the difference of, you know, them uh, finding other solutions to get more quicker, and which in turn means more shipments for you, which means more money, or them canceling everything because there's nothing that's ever going to come. But it's by doing that research. But I looked up, and there was an article from uh, September 17th, and I'll share this one as well. But it says it says that, and this is just the smallest things, but first time in 20 years, personal computer market grew by 32%. Obviously, because of COVID, and people having to work remotely, uh, people had to purchase computers who were, maybe they
Mhm.
had them at work or whatever, but now they're at home. So homeschooling and all of those things. So there's a new influx of, I mean, 32%, that's huge. And that's
Mhm.
year over
Mhm.
year in Q1 of 2021. I mean, who knows?
So you think about that, how many shortages are going to come for computers? You think, like, my wife was
Exactly.
just telling me last night. She said, "Do we have winter tires?" And I said, "Yeah, everybody's got winter tires." She's okay because she was reading an article that if you need winter tires, you have to get them now. Now, think about this for a second. How are, as consumers, typical buying patterns are, right?
Wait till
Typically,
the last
now
minute,
I don't
right?
know about I
Until
don't
you
know
have
about
to.
you in Ohio, but in Ontario, people typically wait till the first snowstorm and somebody goes and T-bones you on the 400 series highway, or somebody goes slipping out and hits a guardrail with, they say, "Damn, I should probably put my winter tires on." Like, every year, it's, I mean,
Absolutely.
ever like every year, the first
It's our human
snowfall, I
nature,
would
though.
never go to work.
It's our human nature to just wait till the
Yeah,
last
last
second, or
minute.
wait till
Yeah,
something actually happens.
exactly.
I
But
did
now what's
security.
going to happen? But now what's going to happen, DJ? Like, our whole buying patterns are going to have to change
Absolutely.
until this whole thing settles in. Now, some people say, well, it's until every country starts mandating vaccines. I'm not getting into that conversation because that is
Mhm.
way too heated. But it's like, you look at, when you dive into that article, they talk about, like, Malaysia, where all of the majority of the world's resistors come from. They're in major issues with COVID, and it's getting better. But when
Yeah,
things do this and a major issue happens, and I think this is what we as logistics sales reps really should take into consideration. When things dip, to get back to, meaning, clean up the backlog, is a long process. Like it's kind of like not cutting your grass for 2 weeks. And you think, well, it's just not cutting it for 2 weeks. And you either have chunks of grass that literally kill your mower, or you have to do like a 3 cut pass, and drop it lower each time. So like
Yeah.
all of this adds up. And I really think we as consumers need to really pay attention to our buying patterns. And for all of you out there that,
Why
let's
not?
just, from a safety concern, go buy winter tires now. Like if you don't have them, or if you think you need them, like go get them now. And yes, are they going to be more expensive? Sure, everything's more expensive. Like I'm blown away at some of the costs that I'm
Oh my
seeing for
gosh,
stuff.
it's
I'm
insane.
like, holy
It's
shit! Like 2 years ago,
it's
that was
crazy.
pennies.
Yeah.
Now I'm remortgaging the house just to get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's like gas. I mean, gas, everything. But
well,
and to your
gas right
point,
now is absolutely astronomical.
oh my
Like
gosh,
I
it's
can't
insane.
believe.
Oh yeah, but to your point, not only consumers that we need to be smarter, but that's if we as consumers, guys, have to do this, then we need to be telling our clients, our customers, hey, you might want to change how you're ordering this stuff. Like it's
Hmm.
going to be, even more of a crunch. And just to go a little bit further, something that I had no clue about, but reading in this story says another not so talked about fueling the semiconductor crisis is cryptocurrency mining. I guess the cryptocurrency miners are just blowing out and buying as many of these as they can. I guess it's a very, according to this, what kind of plays factor in what's driving this. But then talks about things I've never even heard of. A fire at an electronics chip factory in Japan in May. Two-thirds of the chips made in the facility were for automobiles. Gone, gone. I mean, the power outage in Texas affecting the auto industry. I mean, there's and then
So
Taiwan.
like it's interesting,
Taiwan. It
ADJ.
says,
You take, go on, go
well,
on.
here. So Taiwan. It says the global chip making hub. Worst drought in 50 years, and the drought has affected chip production since water is an important input. Did you have any clue that water was an important input in chip?
I mean, I would only say just because it cools, like,
Of
you know what
course.
I mean? I guess whatever, if they've got some kind of turbine or something that it cools. But
Yeah.
so that's interesting. So in 2 articles, now let's, for everybody watching, and if you've been here since the beginning, DJ and I are talking about 2 specific articles. And I want to put those articles together to show you the power of information to a customer in a sales process. Okay. So you
Yep.
have a customer in the automotive industry or something to do with automotive, because if they can't deliver cars, they're going to slow down on buying on every part of their supply chain. That's my belief. Maybe I'm wrong. If you know differently, put it in the chat.
Absolutely.
Call me out instantly. So here's the thing, Mr.
Call them out,
Customer.
please.
Yeah, please do. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I found 2 articles and I'm curious to see what the impact is with your business. So I'm understanding that combustion vehicles are about 300 chip resistor chips. However, electric vehicles are 3,000. If they're producing parts for electric. Not only that, Japan had a huge fire, Malaysia's having a huge issue, like, and you go through all of those things that DJ and I just talked about, and say to them, and here's your call to action, here's your ending, and then stop and don't say a word. I'm really curious if you and your team, or if your corporation has a plan for the next 15 months, because my understanding, it's not going to get better until 2023 or even
Boom.
24. And stop. That's
Yep.
my opinion, because for me,
Absolutely.
what have I just done to the logistics manager, the traffic manager, the shipping, like my shipper, right? I've just delivered a bomb of, holy shit, no, I've never thought of the future. And I don't, and you know what, DJ, I don't think most of us do. Right? Like I don't think. Listen, we talk about goals all the time and everything, but I think for the majority of the population, like if you're going to, even your career, but it gets mundane where every day it's kind of a repetitive thing. We don't look at, okay, 2 years from now, where are we going to be? It's like corporate delivers a mandate for Q4, and our focus is Q4. but what we do in Q4 will actually dictate Q1 and 2 of 2022, right? And I think that mentality of, for us as professional logistical, like, architects, I used to call myself I used to call myself an architect, because I truly create the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my title when I was in logistics was value and solutions architect, because I didn't want account manager or anything like that. And it's a fancy kind of name. I use it mainly because it was an icebreaker, and I could say, and it could dive me right into my value prop, right? But think that for
Absolutely.
a second, and how many people in the market today, how many salespeople? Because again, the last I did some research last was kind of somewhere around 25 million sales reps in this industry, 12% of the global GDP. So there's multiple trillions, double digit trillions of dollars on the table. Um, and everyone's, I got a truck, I'm doing this. So you would immediately stand out from 25 million people by just saying, and you know what? Hey, have you read these? And fire them off. What's your email address? So now you got the prospect's email address. Fire them off and say, really interesting, because if they're saying this is happening, and we're at this tipping point, right? Like Malcolm Gladwell talks about, we're at this tipping point. And I
Yeah.
believe this tipping point is in the next 3 to 5 years. If you look at all the companies creating electric vehicles and everything coming to market by 2025, 2026, we are going to have more electric vehicles. Like, I'm going to say 80-20, meaning 20% of the production is going to be combustion vehicles. And this is just electric vehicles. This isn't everything else, transistor chips and resistor chips and all these other chips. And I love
Computers
chips.
and yeah.
Oh yeah, I love chips. They're really good. Doritos are best.
Doritos,
But
yeah.
sweet chili heat. Have you tried the Miss Vicky's spicy dill pickle? Oh my God, they are so good. So anyway, sorry,
Hold on.
got
Yeah,
totally off topic.
you're gonna have to send me that one because that sounds really good though.
They're very good. They're very good. So um, here's kind of the process, right? Is you take that education piece and you fire it, for lack of a better term, down your prospect's throat, right? Now what we do is we stop and we say, okay, here's kind of the big thing to think about when it comes to this is, your business. You are no longer just a sales rep. You are a
You're not,
professional.
and you're
And
not
in
just selling freight.
exactly, thank you,
You're
DJ.
coming.
Thank you.
You're
And
coming
in
up with
today's
solutions.
market, well,
Yeah.
absolutely, in today's market, customers want professionals. I believe, and I speak to customers every day because I want to get inside their head. Because if I get inside their head, I know how to sell to them. If I get inside their head, I know how to, reverse engineer their thought process and their buying decision process. And the big thing that comes back again and again and again is, I'm sick of the fucking stress. I'm sick of the bullshit. I'm sick of the issues. We all know there's issues. Don't talk to me about the issues. Talk to me about the solutions.
Solutions.
And so
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
So Ryan
And
says something very well, and I heard another person talk about this: education over compensation. I heard people say education before compensation is something I've been living this year. Gone are the days at looking at a lane and estimating what capacity or pricing would look like. 100%.
absolutely.
It's almost as if we're like, we're in my opinion, right now, in the heart. We're actually in the heart of the storm, I believe. I don't believe we've come out of the heart yet. I think that's going to be probably 8 to 10 months. But in the heart of the storm,
Agreed.
like any major storm, really good things come out if you apply certain things and if you do things in a certain way. Wallace Wattles wrote a fantastic book called The Science of Getting Rich. Um, and I got resale rights to it years ago. And it talks about doing things in a specific way, right? Looking at, like in perfect example, okay? When COVID hit, I don't know if all of you remember when COVID hit, but like Zoom, for example, Zoom stock, I think, was like 90 cents or something. And it spiked to like almost $7. So imagine if, and I know this isn't logistics related, but I want to try and give everybody a real deep sense of stopping and looking around, because I missed it. And I talk about stopping and looking around. And trust me, I kick myself in the nuts a lot over it. So you think about it. If you would have bought 10 grand worth of Zoom stock, right? Just as COVID's hitting, you're like, okay, I think we're going to go into lockdown, buy, right?
Yeah.
Because like you look at video conferencing, Microsoft Teams, like very few companies, I know like Oracle and these people were using Microsoft Teams, but now companies that have like 7 people in it are using Microsoft Teams. Like
Yeah,
this has
exactly.
ushered in this
Oh,
digital gold rush for how we work, how we do things. I mean, right now, almost every single, like you do a Calendly invite, and it used to be, what's your phone number? Now it's like there's no phone number. It's all of a sudden you get a Zoom link, right?
yeah,
It's like
that's it.
wow,
That's
okay, right?
it. Oh yeah,
So
no, you're so
like
right.
I
And guys,
know.
in the report that I'm going to share, I mean, it gives what just 4 steps of what they're suggesting that people can do as well. So, first step is real time market intelligence and primary research to find arbitrage. Suggest sourcing other sources. Second step, speed up the process to add new suppliers. Again, you're stuck with the
Mhm.
same old suppliers. You got to find more. You find new. You got to think outside the
Or, you know
box.
what? Or I'll capitalize on that, DJ. Or build a deeper relationship so you get the trucks over somebody else and become a true partner. Like truly a partner. Understand their challenges. Talk to them about what are some of your drivers having issues with at your present shippers or the people you presently deal with, and have those deep conversations. And if you start right now, here's just a caveat. Sorry, DJ, but here's a
No,
caveat.
you're
If
good.
you're only starting right now, you cannot go into it as if like you gotta 8 mile the hell out of it, okay? For lack of a
Yes,
better term.
yes, yeah.
And you got it like, hey, listen, this is what my long-term goals are. This isn't just because it's tight capacity. I'm like these are my long-term goals. This is my commitment to you. This is what I'd like to do. This is how I'd like to do it. This is how I'd like to move forward. And this is how like lay out a 15 to 24-month plan for your supplier. Because I'll tell you again, all you brokers out there, you are nothing without the people that carry the freight. The number one people in this
Absolutely.
entire, you might be the fuel because you bring in the sales, but fuel's no good without an engine. It ain't going to get you anywhere. All it's going to do is light you on fire. Oh, that was
I like
good.
that.
I know
Oh,
that
that was
just
good.
flowed. I
I
didn't
like
even
that
think of
one.
that.
I
I was
like
like,
that one.
I'm going to have to
Uh,
watch this
but
replay and use that.
so to show you how professional Dan is and on point with this, number 3 kind of talks with what Dan talked about. Collaborate with finance teams for faster payments. That's basically to say, hey, we're paying you faster. Get us the damn stuff. Give us priority. That's what it's basically telling you. And then it says find the optimal chip order quantity. So adjust your quantities. Plan for the future. Order more than you usually do. Again, with what we do, there is a lot of, especially, I mean, Dan, I'm sure you can tell everybody, but with working with the customer for 28 years, there's a system and it's regular. Every month kind of stays the same. You have busy times where it's a little bit more that comes in and less. And it's almost like a rinse and recycle for the most part. Well, now we're out of things. We're not even, that's almost eliminated to everybody. So now everybody has to think on their feet a lot
Well,
faster to figure the
I would
solutions.
also add to that, DJ. You brought up a point that we've totally missed in last episodes. Your customers' high and low seasons. Like as a sales rep, one of your first conversations you should be having right now is that still a thing?
Yeah,
And if it is, and you are
yeah,
expecting January or whatever, February, March, April, even June of next year
yeah.
for a
You,
massive spike in business,
you better, you
Mr.
better.
Sales Rep or Mrs. Sales Rep watching this video, get your arse in gear and protect your customer, because that negative exposure will kill your image, credibility, and brand with them. Like they might not be thinking, and again, we go back to that. Like it's amazing how these conversations come full circle without any like preparation. Like there's no planning ahead. I sent DJ an article last night. I said, what do you think about this? Let's talk about this. And that's what we're talking about. This is all off the cuff. So here's the thing.
Yes.
If we are all last minute things, your customer is probably not thinking about their busy season because they're just trying to get through Q4. They're trying to solve issues that are literally like right here. They're not looking at issues way down the road. How much of an asset, I don't even know if that's proper English, how much of an asset would you be
Right.
If you said, yeah, great, I'm looking at this, but what I also want to do is I really want to focus 15 months from now, 2 months from now. Is your busy season? Are you still like, okay, perfect example on that would be if anyone does Christmas trees. So Dean Crook from DAT Analytics, the head analyst at DAT. Awesome, man. Dean, if you're watching, you are the genius, my friend. You are the man. Two
Yes, he
things
is.
that he talked about, two articles, okay, that can completely destroy profitability for your customers or turn you into the genius and the greatest salesperson ever. First article, Christmas trees. Anyone doing Christmas trees, realize this year is going to be a massive influx and increase in Christmas trees. And Dean was right. He says, we get 94 or 96% of our Christmas trees from Asia. They're no longer like, think of all the issues, right? We don't have to beat that dead horse that's been dead for a long time. Everybody keeps kicking it. But
Yeah.
so now we've got like call it an 80% decrease in Christmas trees. Not only that, they're probably going to get twice as expensive. So people are going to be like, screw that. Okay. Number two, the infrastructure deal in the US. They're estimating for it to chew up 200,000 truckloads to the market, flatbeds. Christmas trees are flatbeds, the infrastructure bill. Those two things create a dynamic storm that if
Oh
you
yeah.
have a flatbed customer and you don't know those two things, I, I'm sorry, you're not doing your job for your customer. Because I think a lot of us in sales, and don't get me wrong, guys, everybody needs to eat, so don't come back to me with the whole I need to eat, man. you know it's money, but what about long-term client goal attainment? And I know there's a
Yes.
lot of words in there, but long-term results for your clients, that should be the only focus. And
It should be.
the
It
only
should
one,
be
DJ.
number
And you know what?
one.
Yeah, give yourself 3-4 hours a week and sit down, eat one client at a time and say, okay, what is their business? What is the core of their business? And what is happening in the market for their business? And spend 20, 30 minutes Googling stuff. Mr. Googs is like the ultimate information highway. And Google
Yes.
stuff and put it together. Take pieces from one article, another article, and give your customer some massive value add that they might not that they're idiots, not that they're not thinking, they're just so caught up with the day to day, they're not seeing that far ahead. But you, the professional sales rep, can see so far ahead because you're in the know. And all you got to do is clear your desk, shut off your email, stop scrolling, and think about what you can do to help your customer achieve their goals. And I can guarantee you one thing: if you do that, your commissions will take care of themselves. Just another way to say Zig Ziglar. You help a lot of people get what they want, you're going to get what you want.
Bingo. Exactly. And that's the difference
That's a
between
mic
being a
drop.
professional. That's the mic drop for sure. That's the difference between being a professional in this industry or just selling freight. That's the biggest difference, guys. If you're just selling freight, if that's what you're being taught, if that's what you've learned about this industry, come to our show more. We'll tell you what it's
Yeah.
really about. It's not about that. That's not about how much. I made 12 grand, 12,000 off of this one load. And you're gonna do one load. Don't do that. Think of
Oh
the
yeah, I mean
future.
that's
Be
on a completely
be
different level, but yeah. Hmm.
be all about the future with your customers. And the easiest way, if you don't know their industry, who you're working with, when we end this show, call your main customers right now and say, hey, I know you're dealing with stuff, but can we set up a call to talk about the next 6 months, 15 months, 18 months?
Hmm.
This is what I'm hearing. Let's plan out what's going to happen. Now, there's two things you're doing. One, you just bought yourself kind of time to be their contact for the next 15 months or whatever. So you're building a future with them before even worrying about it. You're not worrying about what's going to drop off or what could happen to piss them off, and you're gone. Because that's the name of this game. If you're not doing this, guys, if you're not doing this, one wrong move and you're out. But if you're building that value, you're a lot harder for them to let go if you're setting those plans. That's what it's all about.
I'm glad you brought that up, DJ, because I think it adds another layer too, where give them the articles, even in your email or your phone call, have a quick blurb from the article.
Mm.
Mr. Customer, I was reading a couple of articles and you immediately came to mind. And here's the thing is I'll pre-frame this, and I don't think I have to based on, all of you watching, you've probably been to the DJ and Dan show before. But like, this is not I'm gonna tell them this so I can get business. Like, you have to care about this business, and you have to care about your customers, and you have to authentically, like, you're here to authentically help them do more, achieve their goals. And I can remember when my team and I helped a customer reduce demurrage, and they finally got their bonuses for the first time in I don't know how long. The joy and excitement when the customer was able to buy a pool for his children was worth more than anything. And
Absolutely.
that was the goal, zero demurrage, and we achieved it. And they finally got bonuses, and his bonus went to giving his kids the ability to swim. I mean, it was just like a stand-up pool, but it doesn't matter, giving them the ability to swim in the pool. So the goal attainment for our customers, and for you as the sales rep to say, hey, I read this article, I read this article, I read this article, I actually just sent you an email, Mr. Customer, there's this blurb, that blurb. If you got 20-30 minutes of uninterrupted time, I know you're swamped, but this is so important for our long-term goal achievement, to make sure I take care of you long-term. I need 20-30 minutes of your time. Like, let's talk about it. And what do you think, DJ? I will guarantee, not almost guarantee, I will guarantee you are probably one out of maybe two or three that will be doing that to your customer, out of the 25 to 30 to 50 to 100 calls they get a week from people wanting their business. Some customers, I can remember CamSlide, when I was dealing with them. They're a magnet company up in Newmarket, Ontario. And I remember sitting down with the main guy at CamSlide, and I said, you got to prepare for ELD. He says, Dan, and I went through the whole spectrum of what I believed ELD was going to create in 2018. And, he looked at me and he said, you know what? He goes, you and one other supplier out of the 30 people we deal with are the
Mm.
only two talking about how it can impact our business. Now, again, I ask, what do you think that did for my credibility in that company?
Oh,
What
you
do you think
Scott.
that did for
Totally.
my image?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's
And I'm not bragging anyone. This is not a brag. It's the fact that I took the information I gathered and I brought it to them to make the business better. Right. Like this is the big thing, is we, as these sales reps, this is, I believe, our job to make our customers' lives better. Ryan once said to me, Dan, my job is to make my customer really look good.
yeah.
And then it's funny because, like, a day later, another student of mine, Tyler, said, my job is to make my customer look like a rock star. I'm like, I love it. The message is getting across. The message is being delivered.
I
Make your customer look like a rock star. Like, I often put up a picture in my Sell Something Else Masterclass where this customer's like almost playing the air guitar. He's got his seat up. He's got his earphones on. And I'm like, this is the picture. That is the picture I think about when I think about how do I want my customer to feel. Go online, Google ecstatic person, really happy, did it, and take that picture and print it and put it on your wall and stare at that when you're trying to solve a problem, or when you're
like
creating a
it.
solution,
I
something
like
for
it.
your customer. Stare at that picture. That is the nucleus. Every decision you make revolves around that picture. Every decision you make. Right? I wish I had a couple of cameras connected. I'm redoing my desk today, but I'd show you my wall because I've got all these pictures, and like I'm staring at them. Okay, when I make this decision, is it going to make that customer look like that, or is it going to make them not look like that? If it's not going to make them look like that, I don't do it. I don't do
Yeah.
it. Like, when I'm creating
What?
products, when I'm creating solutions, when I'm creating videos, when I'm creating training, when I'm creating master classes, when I'm creating conferences, the nucleus, every decision revolves around that picture. So and think about how that can impact your business. One simple thing can change the rest of your direction for years. And your team, here's the picture. Every decision we make revolves around this picture. Listen, there's arsehole customers. I get it. But you know what? Deal with them as long as you physically have to until you don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
I got and I know we're getting off topic, and I apologize, DJ, but I think this is important.
No,
I
no,
got
no,
a
you're right.
LinkedIn message from a student yesterday. He says, Dan, have you ever fired a customer? I said, absolutely. He goes, I think I'm about to. They ask for everything, and then they
Yeah.
don't pay for like 200 days. And my company's losing their shit. I said, so let me ask you this. I said, if you were bankrolling it, right, and you were paying 3%, 2%, 1% interest, are you making enough profit to hold the receivable for 120, 200 days? He says, not even close. I said, well, there you go. Like, your job as a sales rep is not just to make commission, it's to make, like, in the end. So in the end, yes, he's making the cut. The customer wants cheap rates. He's doing the freight. So don't get me wrong, everybody, he's making that choice. But in the end, I said, did you do the job? He said, yeah. I said, did you do it well? He said, yeah. He said, did you accomplish the customer's goal? He says, yeah. I said, then you deserve to be paid. So what you need to do is you not just need to look at your profitability, you need to look at your company's profitability. And for all you managers and VPs out there that are watching, I know you hear me, because I have so many sales reps saying, well, I'm making, $50. I go, what does it cost to invoice an order? Oh, I don't know. Well, okay, as a sales rep, you got to know what it costs to invoice an order at your company, because if it costs you $70, your company's losing money. Now,
They're losing
don't
money
get
every
me
time.
wrong,
Yeah.
I've done freight where it's like 30 loads a week and it's $50, $75 a load. What I do is I invoice it on one order for the day. So if it's 30 loads a week and it's, call it 5 loads a day, those 5 loads go on one invoice.
Mm.
So I can make $250 on the one. It's still $50 a load, but I make $250 on the one invoice to create that revenue for my company. If I start putting that out under 5 invoices, my company loses on every invoice. Does that make sense, DJ?
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like, but that's a conscious, intent-based selling that we talk about, right? That is intent. Everything you do has an intent. And when you operate with intention, oh my God, everything changes. Like, your energy just goes, woof, you just crank up the energy on you, and everything changes. Do
Yes.
yourself that favor, and I'll stop my rant now. Get a picture of what you think when your customer that's dealing with you, how do you want them to feel? Because
Yeah.
sales, all sales is a transfer of
That's
emotion.
right. Yes.
All it is.
That's all it is. It literally is all it is, and it's just as easy as this. I literally tell my customer the exact thing I tell my every client. My goal, our goal, my team's goal is to make your job easier. Everybody wants easier. That's why the whole Staples easy button was a big thing. Easy.
Yeah.
We're humans. We
Hmm.
want things easy. We choose the easy path. So our
The
goal,
shortcuts all the time.
our goal is to make our client's job easier. If you're not, ask them. Am what I'm doing for you making your job easier? What could I do to make your job easier? That's it. Just ask them. They might have something you can do, or they might say, well, they might even joke with you. I had a client say, well, if you could give me some more tow motor guys, that'll make my job easier. Okay. So then I thought about it. Well, I'll just put a post out somewhere and try to hire guys for them, or try to find somebody looking for something. Think of a way, but you're
It's
not
funny
going to
because I
know
think I
unless you ask.
mentioned this. I think I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago. So a student of mine, John, had a customer because he said same thing. He says, like, how can I make your life easy? He goes, you know what? We are so short on pallets. It's unbelievable. Like, we're missing shipping dates. He spent an afternoon finding pallet people, connected them. They bought pallets. He upped his volume, right? Like, just because he asked the question.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like, I think of this and I review, 27 years of selling. And I don't think there was ever a customer that brought a challenge to the table without me asking. Meaning, like, if you don't ask the question, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What can I improve on? 99% of the times, they won't come to the table until,
they're not going to tell you. They're not
no,
going to
until
tell
it's
you
almost
unless
a
you
gunny
ask.
sack situation. But
Because
until it's
they might
almost a
not even,
gunny,
but they might not even know. It might not be at top of head when you're spewing a bunch of crap at them. They're not thinking of the
but
problem
nobody that
that,
listens to our
that
show spews crap.
Oh no, nobody at all. Nobody. I'm sorry. Yeah, nobody. Don't just be a crap. Oh,
Hit us with a quote today, brother.
oh man, I was afraid you were gonna do that. I was not prepared for a quote today. Uh, I, I,
We
I
spend
was trying to,
hours and hours preparing for
man,
these shows.
man. I was, yeah, like that article here,
I'm
hey,
gonna hit
guys.
you with one. I'm gonna hit you
Yeah,
with
yeah.
one
Go
from one
ahead.
of my favorite tours. Be bold, fierce, and unrelenting in chasing your dreams. There you go. It's one I live by, and I love it. Be bold, fierce, and unrelenting in chasing your dreams.
Yeah,
And I'll say it again. If you know you could help somebody, call them 10 times a day until they listen to you. I don't believe, and some people might totally call me out on this. I don't believe it's spam. I don't believe you're wasting their time, because if you get them to hear you and you can make a huge difference, it's all worth it. So if you,
absolutely.
and I'm not talking if you're some like, like if you can help them, you owe it to them to break through that barrier that they have.
You
So you
gotta,
guys
yeah,
have,
you gotta hitch them.
I like